Hi, good morning. Today I want to talk about high blood pressure. Yesterday I mentioned about high blood pressure and I posted a question out to people asking them whether they thought that this condition was reversible. And I was happy to see that almost 95% of the people who responded believes that high blood pressure can be reversed. So high blood pressure can cause a lot of problems if it's not handled the right way, also called as hypertension. If it's not handled the right way in the right time, it can lead to chronic kidney disease, it could lead to stroke, it could lead to cardiac arrests and other cardiovascular complications, and diabetes as well. But the thing is, today, everyone who has high blood pressure is given a medicine, and in most cases, people are told that they need to be on this medicine for a lifetime. Now, that's not entirely true. There are certain patients who have complications who may need to be on a high blood pressure medication for a while. But when a doctor tells you that you need to be on a medication for a lifetime, psychosomatically and psychologically, you believe that you need to be on that pill for a lifetime, and then that prevents you from making lifestyle changes and making dietary changes that can actually help you get off that medication in a safe way. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against doctors and I'm not against medication being given for the right reason. But I am of the belief that when we make lifestyle changes and when we change the way we eat, the way we sleep, the way we move, the way we think, when we change our lifestyle, everything is reversible because the human body is designed to heal itself. So let's talk about high blood pressure for a bit. So when the arteries in the human body get narrower and narrower because it's filled with plaque or it's getting harder, it gets narrow. The heart has to pump more and more blood. It has to work harder at pumping blood, to all those billion cells in your body. And since it doesn't have the right amount of space, the right amount of, space between your arteries to pump that blood, because it's now become narrow, the pressure increases. And that's exactly how we have high blood pressure. What also narrows these arteries is the buildup of plaque. And we have endothelial cells in each of these arteries. When they get irritated because of the high consumption of sugar and salt and toxins in the body from the food that we eat and the air that we breathe, there's inflammation in the arteries, and inflammation causes your arteries to get more narrow, which means your pressure builds up. That's exactly what high blood pressure is. Now, there are several other causes of high blood pressure. One could be excessive smoking, being overweight, lack of physical activity. Having a sedentary lifestyle can definitely lead to high blood pressure. Too much of salt in the diet, especially the wrong salt, sodium chloride, sea salt, that irritates the endothelial cells, that increases water retention in the body, that increases your high blood pressure. Too much of alcohol, definitely stress. Chronic stress has a direct correlation with high blood pressure. As we age, in unhealthy bodies and bodies which have not been looked after over the years, high blood pressure can be a problem. Yes, genetics as well can create high blood pressure. Family history, chronic kidney disease can produce high blood pressure, diabetes, adrenal and thyroid problems, and sleep apnea. So there are several causes, and as you can see, most of these causes can be reversed with lifestyle. Now, I'm not asking each and every one of you to just jump off your medication. I'm over here to tell you to believe that if you make the right changes and change your lifestyle, and I'm going to share those tips with you right now, you can reverse your high blood pressure. You can reduce it to a point where you and your doctor can sit across the table and make a decision to slowly reduce your medication and eventually get you off it. As of now, I have hundreds of people all over the world who are no longer on their medication. I'm talking about people who have been on high blood pressure medication for 10 to 15 years. And there's no magic in what I do. We just identify the deficiencies that they have in the body and the lifestyle changes that they need to make. So let me first talk about D3. It has been noticed that people with lower levels of D3 tend to have high blood pressure. And if you have high blood pressure, correcting your vitamin D3 levels will help you lower your high blood pressure. There is a direct correlation between D3 and high blood pressure. And now, I'm not talking about D3 levels of 30 and 35. A lot of people they get into range. There's a lower range and there's a higher range. I'm talking about getting your D3 levels in the range of 60 to 70. Of course, we never want to go above 100 because then that's overtoxicity of D3, which is also bad for your body. But at the same time, we don't want to stay on the lower range of the reference range of D3. And today, almost most people, 1 in 3 or 1 in 2 people, have a deficiency in D3. So if you have high blood pressure, it is extremely important that you look at getting your vitamin D3 levels higher and higher. I'm not talking about 30, 40, I'm talking about 60 and 70. And you will see how your high blood pressure comes in control. The second thing, detoxification. Toxicity in the human body is a real thing, and it's causing immense problems to us every single day. Toxins in your arteries produce oxidative stress, which produces inflammation. Inflammation, which means you have narrower arteries or you have more plaque and more buildup of toxins in your arteries, which allows lesser blood to flow in, which means your heart has to pump and work harder, which means there's higher blood pressure. So constant detoxification, because we don't live in an ideal world where we breathe clean air all the time, or we eat food or drink water which is not contaminated. Magnesium. Just by changing the magnesium levels in your body, you can start lowering your high blood pressure. Because let me tell you right now that every medicine that you put in your body has a side effect, including high blood pressure medication. There are a lot of high blood pressure tablets that basically act as calcium blockers. It blocks the amount of calcium that gets absorbed into your cells. So now you have a deficiency of calcium, you have lower vitamin D3 levels, because D3 cannot be absorbed into the body in the absence of calcium or in lower levels of calcium. So it's all connected. And if your medicine is blocking out calcium, you have a calcium deficiency. If your body cannot get sufficient calcium, which is very necessary for a lot of its functions, it starts depleting magnesium. And if you have a deficiency of magnesium, magnesium is so important to the human body. It controls your heart, it controls several functions, and deficiencies of magnesium range from heart problems to high blood pressure to tremors to dizziness to fatigue to cellular weakness, so many issues. So you see, it's all connected. Sometimes I always say that there's usually one drug for one condition, but the beauty of the human body and the beauty of nature, one vitamin or one trace mineral can correct maybe 10 or 15 or even 20 ailments that you have in the human body, because that's how a vitamin is designed. One vitamin has multiple functions in the human body. So you look at your magnesium, you look at your potassium, you look at your calcium levels, and I'm talking about trying to get calcium from natural food sources like sesame seeds, nuts, seeds, pumpkin seeds also have a lot of magnesium. In some cases where you're on a high dose of high blood pressure medication, even taking a magnesium supplement of anywhere between 350 to 500 mg, of course, speak to your doctor or speak to your nutritionist or your counselor about it to get the right advice on how much you should take, actually helps you lower your blood pressure. So you look at magnesium, you look at potassium, you look at calcium from natural food sources, your green leafy vegetables, your nuts, your seeds. They're teeming with calcium, they're teeming with magnesium, they're teeming with potassium, with magnesium, and it can all help you. The simple fruit like a banana. Why do most marathon runners and trainers get cramps in their calves? It's usually because of a magnesium deficiency, which is related and correlated to low vitamin D3 and low calcium levels. Yoga and pranayama has a direct impact, and I've seen this with my own clients all over the world. They fit in yoga in their life, they fit in pranayama, because again, you reduce your stress, you lower your cortisol levels, and you lower your high blood pressure levels. You'll find that your high blood pressure spikes up every time you're going through an emotional issue or a stressful situation in your life. So yeah, we all have stress, all of us have stress, but then we also have the ability to change our perspective and our attitude towards that stress, because stress is the #1 cause of most diseases. So if you have that ambition and you have that goal to want to get off your medication, these are some of the little things you do. And then a plant-based diet is almost your natural pill that can reduce your high blood pressure, because we know that dairy, we know that milk, that we know that gluten causes inflammation in the arteries, and over here we're trying to reduce inflammation so that the endothelial cells can heal and that your blood pressure can lower. So when you get onto a plant-based diet, you have the ability to actually repair your arteries, and you have the ability to reduce high blood pressure. That's about high blood pressure. Now it's totally up to you. We can continue to believe that we need to be on these pills for a lifetime. And yes, there are certain patients who will need to be on it for a lifetime because of so many different complications, ranging from transplants to stents to bypasses and all of that stuff. But I can tell you right now, there are people who are getting off these pills all the time, safely, with their doctors in a loop, by making lifestyle changes and believing that the human body has the ability to heal itself. Have a great day, everyone. Eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.